Alright, I am Tehuti Khepera. Iteru. Now, on this video right here, I want to speak about creating someone else's reality, right? So now, I know you're all familiar with you create your own reality, but on this one, I want to show you how you can actually create and how manifest someone else's reality. So now I want to go into this. Alright. So again, I want to show you how I want to show you how, but I want to talk specifically as it pertains to black people right here. So I want to show you how black people are actually manifesting someone else's reality, and then on the reverse now, what's happening is that we're creating our own demise. Now this is going to be deep right here. Right? We're creating our own demise. So on the conscious level, on the surface level, you create someone's reality, you will someone else's reality into existence, but on the subconscious level, by doing so, you're actually creating your own demise right here. So now we're going to get into this. So we're going to talk about, so the main theory, not theories, but the main basis of all this is that it's believing in his system, right? Believing in white supremacy, believing in his ideas, believing in his concepts. And I want to show you many examples and many different aspects where we do this as a people, right? Believing in his system. And the first is technology. Now we're going to go into this right here. So the first right here is technology, right? So now, you create his reality when you start believing in his technologies. You're believing in his phones. You're believing in his mobile phones. You're believing in his new technologies, right? So when they release a new technology, what they're waiting for, they're not waiting for the masses. They're waiting for black people to believe it. They're waiting for black people to buy into it. Once black people buy into it, that's when it manifested, and that's when it's word into existence. When they're waiting for black people, right? So now when he brings out these new phones, these new iPhones and all these different things, he's waiting for black people to buy into this stuff. You see what I'm saying? But see, a lot of this stems from a lack of knowledge of true technology. And I spoke about this in other videos. Well, not in other videos on this channel, but on my main channel. I spoke about this in another video. How this technology that we have now, right? It's not advanced technology. It's efficient. It's just more efficient. The external technology is actually primitive. The true higher technology is the internal technology, dealing with certain glands, dealing with the mind and things like that, as it pertains to the body and the mind. That's the high technology. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of these external technology, a lot of these phones, is actually primitive technology. It's an external thing to externalize something that you used to be able to do internally. But because it's a lack of knowledge and you don't understand this now, you think it's high technology. So when he comes with the next phone, the next advancement, it's not really the next advancement. It's just more efficient. This technology that he has is just constantly making it more efficient, right? So now dealing with the cars now, right? The original car, that's why when if you notice now, when it says a car, yeah, it's because it horsepower. This car has all this horsepower. That's because the original car was the horse and chariot. That was the original car. You see what I'm saying? Where the horses now would pull the chariot, and the guy sits there with the chariot. It's got the wheels. That's the original car. You see what I'm saying? But the same way with the horse, you have to feed the horse. You gotta feed the car. You see what I'm saying? With the petrol, with the diesel, you gotta feed the car. You see what I'm saying? And the same way with the horse, with do the feces and all that. The car has its own. You see what I'm saying? Its own. Dealing with the carbon dioxide and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? Has its own exhaust and dealing with that. You see. So that was the original car. But so now when he's coming out with these new cars and he's telling you this next advancement, it's not the next advancement, because you still got to sit there in that car. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it can become more luxurious, dealing with the interiors and different functionalities, but still it's the same concept. Going from one place to the next, you still have to sit in that car. You see what I'm saying? You still have to use the pedals, you still got to drive it, you still got to sit in that car. You see what I'm saying? And then now it's the ones that come with these driverless cars, but it's still the same shit, because you're still sitting in that car, you're still driving on the same roads, and you're still subject to the same traffic. So again, it's just more efficient. It's not advanced technology. You see what I'm saying? It's not advanced, right? So now, I want to talk about science right here. Now this is another one I've been meaning to get into this for a while now. Okay, so the white boy does his science now. He gives you these physics. I spoke about this in another video, dealing with his physics now, and his laws of thermodynamics, and he talks about matter cannot be destroyed, it simply changes form. And I spoke about how that's an alchemist philosophy, right? That's what an alchemist would understand. You see what I'm saying? That's an alchemist philosophy. And another thing he talks about, what does he say? Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. You see what I'm saying? But again, that's magnetism. You see what I'm saying? You got two magnetic forces. You got one magnetic force, right? And you got another magnetic force, And two opposing magnetic forces, right? What happens are two magnetic fields now pressing against each other. It produces diamagnetism. That's what that is, and that's how things can levitate. For example, one of the metals, bismuth. Now, bismuth, it produces its own magnetic field, so you can actually create diamagnetism using bismuth. Again, you can look at these videos where they got bismuth now creating this. They got two bismuth plates, which bismuth again produces, has its own magnetic field now. When you put stuff in between, if you angle it right, you can actually just get something and levitate. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's magnetism. So what's happening is that he's taking your shit, your science, and all he's doing is he's writing it down. So the stuff that you used to talk about, the stuff that you were dealing with from word of mouth, right? From word of mouth, but you never wrote it down. What he's doing, he's writing it down now, and you're thinking it's his science and it's his stuff, but really it's your stuff, but he's writing it down. You see what I'm saying? And you're thinking, he's so smart, he's so smart. All he's doing is writing it down. The stuff that you used to speak from word of mouth, all he's doing is writing it down. Now, another thing I want to deal with, again, I've been meaning to deal with this. I've been meaning to deal with this now, as it pertains to science, is these atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs, nuclear bombs. So now when this white man comes up with these bombs, oh, we think he's so smart, but see, a bomb, an explosion is a release of energy. It's an exothermic reaction, a release of energy, but that bomb is actually primitive. That's the key. The bomb is primitive, right? And it's primitive because he doesn't have the level of advancement. He's not advanced enough to contain the energy and use it to power his systems. So rather than contain that bomb and contain that energy and use it to power his systems, all he has is the bomb. You see what I'm saying? But we weren't that stupid to create bombs, right? What the hell's a bomb to an alchemist? There would have been explosions. There would have been all kinds of things going on there, right? But we weren't that stupid to create a bomb because we knew it's a waste of energy. That's all a bomb is. You see what I'm saying? So when we were dealing with alchemy, we had the knowledge of atoms. We could easily create bombs, but we weren't that stupid. But he needs bombs now. Again, we're dealing with the politics now, dealing with the warfare and all of that, and military. He needs bombs, things of that nature. But we never needed bombs. You see what I'm saying? So when he creates all these bombs, don't think it's advanced. It's really less advanced. It's primitive because he has no way of actually containing the energy and using it to power his systems right here. You see what I'm saying? So it's actually primitive. So again, we're believing in this system. We're believing in it. We're thinking it's advanced, but it's actually primitive. Now this part is deep. I've been meaning to get into this. I was actually going to put this in another video, but I had to take it out. I thought, yeah, they're not ready for this. They're not ready for this shit. But now we're going to put this. We're going to deal with this. So now I want to talk about NASA right here and the space program. So now recently they came out with this whole, they found these exoplanets, they found these new planets, Earth-like planets. Let's deal with this. Okay. So they found these Earth-like planets. Now, when you look up the word planet, the etymology of the word planet means wandering star. It means wandering star. Have you ever wondered why is it that when you go into ancient times and ancient cultures, they never spoke about these. They spoke about the Earth and different realms, but they never spoke about planets as far as physical planets and the Mars, and they never spoke about it like that. Why is that? That's because planet means wandering star, and what they found was that they had certain fixed stars and fixed star constellations which they named, right? You see what I'm saying? Sirius or Sothis and, Orion and things like that. Right? They had a different star systems, but then they found that they had these other stars that weren't so fixed. These stars that they would move around, they weren't fixed. You see what I'm saying? And that's what those planets were. And when you go into the Sumerian stuff, the Assyrian stuff, they talk about, again, they talk about Mars, the red star that Brian shot. Its light is dim. Its light is dim, but its red star, its light is dim. You see, they're talking about Mars. So these planets are really stars. They were really, you see what I'm saying, wandering stars. And this is why it's all CG. This is why all the planets are CG. It's all CGs because they know they're simply wandering stars. But when I want to go deep into this, I want to show you how it works. So what's happening is that the ultimate reality is that there is no space program. There is no space program. That's the key. There is no space program. So all this, we got a space program we're looking at, but there is no space program at all. You see what I'm saying? There is no space. There are no satellites. That's the key. Again, I've done research on this. It turns out that what they have is these hot air balloons, and these hot air balloons they raise up now, and that's how that's how you get the connectivity from the mobile phone, the internet. That's how it all works. Is these hot air balloons that fly so high in the stratosphere that planes, and you won't see them with your naked eye unless you're that high up. So he's using hot air balloons, recon planes, and all these different things, and that's what that's how you get the connectivity with the mobile phones and things like that. It's these hot air balloons. That's what it is. They're balloons. You see what I'm saying? They're not satellites. He has no satellites. You see what I'm saying? They're not satellites, and that's the key. So again, dealing with NASA now, again, it's just one. They're wandering stars, but now this the whole CG thing is that what it's hoping is that by telling you, by showing you these images and things like that, right, you actually create the planet for them. The universe is mental, or the all is mind. Universe is mental. You actually create these planets for them. No, you're not creating for them. You make them physical. You see what I'm saying? Because the Earth, even the Earth is like you make the Earth physical based on your human brain. You see what I'm saying? So he wants you to show. He's constantly showing you these CG images, in hopes that you actually create it and make it physical. You see what I'm saying? And he further does this by adding dates to it. So when he says, "Oh, we're going to colonize Mars by 2020," when in 2020, he's hoping that you can believe and manifest it by 2020 for him for 2020. You see what I'm saying? So he's hoping that you can manifest it for him during 2020 by 2020. This is what he's hoping. But again, they're just stars. They're just wandering stars. This way it's all CG. You see what I'm saying? There is no space program. There is none of that. That's the key. You see what I'm saying? So again, all the money that you're putting into it is to create the illusion of the space program. And that's another thing. That's why he puts the mathematics to it. So like, how can you say this such planet is certain light years away when you haven't even been there to know how far away it actually is? You see what I'm saying? You measure distance from being here and sending something over there and actually going there and seeing how long it takes, and then that's how you measure. That's how you measure distance. So how the hell can he tell you certain light years away when he's never even been? So again, that's garbage. And what he does, he puts the mathematics to it to try and try and validate it, try and do all these different things to make it seem like it's real. But there is no space program. It's all it's all just to create the illusion that there's a space program. That's the key. So you see, when you see all these movies and all this technology that he has, it's all just to create the illusion. We gotta make it seem like we're working. We gotta make it seem like we're doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or people will start thinking it's garbage, and that's the key. You see what I'm saying? That's the key to this. Another thing, how he manifests his reality now, the things that he does now, is the words he uses. You see what I'm saying? The eloquent words he uses to describe simple things. So now, museum. You see what I'm saying? Museum is simply a room full of stolen artifacts, but he calls it the museum. It's this and that. He has it all nice, but it's a room full of stolen artifacts. Again, mostly now you've seen the video now of me in the British Museum right here. You see what I'm saying? Again, it's a room full of stolen artifacts. That's what it is. You see what I'm saying? But he calls it museum to make it seem eloquent, to making it seem exquisite. But it's a room full of stolen artifacts. That's the key, right? And again, archaeology, right? So now he's digging up. So archaeology now, he's digging against, essentially what archaeology is, it's trespassing. That's what it is. So when he says, "Oh, we found a new discovery," all he's doing is trespassing. You see what I'm saying? Because nobody's really going to let him go into their land and steal some shit. What he's doing is trespassing. We got this new discovery. It's trespassing. That's what he's doing. But he calls it archaeology and all this science and all this. Again, it's the words that he's using. And we think he's doing all this, he's a genius and all these different things. But the words that he uses, it's just simple stuff. It's stealing and it's trespassing. This is what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? This is what he's doing. And again, I'm dealing with religion now. I want to go into this whole religion thing. So now, the whole religion thing now, this is how we create, again, this is another way how we create his reality. And again, dealing with religion, it's not just about the white Jesus now. It's just about believing in creation itself. That's the whole thing with religion. This is what holds us back as a people. It's not the whole Jesus thing. It's not just the Jesus. It's the believing in creation itself. Believing in creation. Believing in order. Believing in the physical. And really the physical was your enemy. That's the real mythology. When you go even to the older mythologies, they talk about all of this shit ain't even shit. You see what I'm saying? This is garbage out here. You see what I'm saying? Right? So that was the real stuff. So it's not even the white Jesus. You got to break out of the whole believing in creation itself. You see what I'm saying? You're beyond that. And that's what I've been doing with my other videos lately. I've been dealing with it. That's your true religion. Going beyond it, saying creation. You said going beyond creation itself. That's the key. Right? So again, and then that's the last thing now. How we create this reality now. Again, we're believing the system now. We're paying taxes. We're doing all this. We're following by his rules and all these different things. Where the whole thing with taxes now, again, if 10,000 people got together and said, we're not paying taxes, what do you think they could do to those 10,000 people? They can do shit to those 10,000 people. You see what I'm saying? It only works when you believe in it. So it only works. It's a collective thing. The system only works collectively. If 10,000 people said, fuck taxes, they couldn't do shit to stop those 10,000 people. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's about believing in his system. So now so again, that's how we create his reality. Now I want to show you how on the reverse now, we're actually creating our own demise. That's how it works. So again, that's how it works. So again, I'm showing you how on the surface we're creating his reality, right? But then what's happening is how on the reverse now we're creating our own demise, right? And the way out of this now is this. The main reason why we're still here creating our own demise, the reason why we're still here is because, and we're still, in this creation doing all these things right here in the physical right here, is because we can't imagine a world without him, and that's the key. We can't imagine a world without his system, without his, white supremacy. Essentially, why we're still here, because we can't imagine a world without him. You see what I'm saying? That's the way out of it. Imagining a world without him. But the whole key with imagination now and belief is you actually have to have it. You actually have to see it. You see what I'm saying? You can't just think and dream. You have to see the vivid images. You have to believe. You see what I'm saying? That's the whole thing now we're dealing with Egypt. When we say, okay, the Egyptians were black, we know this biologically. It's impossible for them to be anything but black. We know this. But if he tells you the Egyptians were white, right? But then he has white people in power and white people in rulership, they can take your history just based on them being in power. So when you see the Queen of England now, and you see you see her artifacts and the things that she has, they're copying you, dealing with the crowns, dealing with the staff that she has and the crown jewels. They're copying you. So even though you tell yourself the Egyptians were black, and for years now we've been wondering for years now, this whole Afrocentric movement, we've been saying the Egyptians are black, all this stuff is black, but we're still here. And the reason being is because it doesn't matter how much you say it now, we don't believe you. The people don't believe you. We believe you, conscious people, but the masses don't believe you because we don't have the power, we don't have the authority to match up with it. So we can say the Egyptians were black, but then he can just show you Africans on TV now starving. So the Egyptians were black, right? But then look at these Africans starving. So based on the mind control now, he can rip your history from your hands. You see what I'm saying? He can rip the history from your hands because by showing you Africans starving, this is why he even does it in the first place. He shows you Africans starving. So while on one hand, when you're saying Egypt was black, then he shows you Africans starving and shows him in power. He can just rip the history from your hands. And this is what's happening to us. You see what I'm saying? So now that's the next step, and that's why I want to go deeper into now when dealing with some of the stuff that I'm going to be dealing with in the future now. I'm going to be dealing with it later on. You see what I'm saying? That's the next step, is to take that authority and to take that power. You see what I'm saying? Control our own image again. That's the key, and that's the whole way out. It's controlling your own image. It doesn't matter how much you say Egyptians were black, which again biologically it's impossible for them not to be anything but black. But as long as he's in power and his image, he has this image that he's in power and the image that he's ruling, we don't believe you anymore. The masses can't believe you. You see what I'm saying? And that's the key to this. You see what I'm saying? So again, this was a quick video right here. Okay, I mean, some of these points that I brought up, I've been meaning to speak about in other videos, but I had to hold it back. You see what I'm saying? Right now, I want to release it right here. So again, that's the key. So you've heard of you create your own reality. Now I've just shown you how we're actually creating someone else's reality, and in reverse, we're creating our own demise. And then the last thing right there, what I just gave you, is the way out of this. You see what I'm saying? And why we're still here dealing with after all this consciousness, and the reason is because what I just stated right there. You see what I'm saying? That's the way out of it. So alright, black people, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took some good information for this. Alright, black people, thanks for watching.